Hey guys, Rob Shoecraft here with Three Storm Fitness, and today I'm just chilling on my couch eating some pork rinds. So pork rinds, first of all, I love pork rinds. I think they taste great. I'm the only one in my family that'll touch them. Although sometimes my wife will use she'll use them as like breadcrumb substitute on like pork chops, or I don't know if it's pork on pork. Anyways, I'm already off topic. I love the way they taste, but that doesn't have anything to do with this video. You guys might have seen on pork rind bags. These are some Clancy's. This is Aldi brand. I don't know if you can see right there next to the protein line. Doesn't matter. I'm just going to read it to you. It says, "Protein, 8 grams per serving. Not a significant source of protein." That says that on there. And when I first saw that, I admit I kind of got a little irked. I was like, why are they writing that on there? Like, what is it? Because, because you think about things like Halo Top, for instance, which is an ice cream that it's pretty good. I've tried it a couple times. It's pretty good, but it says great source of protein on the front, and it's it only has like 5 grams of protein. So I'm thinking, why are they pissing on pork rinds? I'm a little biased. Why are they beating up pork rinds? Because it has 8 grams of protein in it. So what's the deal? Like, it's just because they're fried? Don't tell me how to eat my protein. I could fry it if I want to. Anyways, that's probably, if you go on like forums and stuff where people discuss this topic, you'll see that that's people's response. They'll be like, hey, why does it say it's not a significant amount of protein? Well, a source of protein. And then people write, because it's fried and it's terrible for you. You're such an idiot. Why don't you know this? Well, they're idiots, because that's not why. That is not the reason. The reason is actually because of FDA regulation, and it's due to something called PDCAAS, which stands for Protein Digestibility Corrected Amino Acid Score, I think. And that's what the FDA considers the gold standard for a protein source. And the way this all works, and I'm just going to try to boil it down in simple terms because that's how I understand it. So you have an amino acid profile. You have all these essential, all these amino acids. We'll just leave it at that. That different foods contain. Amino acids are the building blocks of protein, and you use protein to build muscle and all that fun stuff. Well, not all protein sources are created equal, and especially in the FDA's eyes. So pork rinds are basically just fried collagen. And collagen has its own benefits. It has a lot of benefits outside of protein, and which doesn't really have great benefits in itself. We'll talk about that in a second. But it's good for, it's supposed to be good for skin health and immune system and joint health. Probably the healthiest source of collagen is probably from homemade bone broth. But anyways, so collagen has a lot of protein in it, but it's not a very complete source in the sense of the amino acid profile. So you have a lot of amino acids. You basically the way the PDCAAS score is, I'm sure they call it like PEDCAS or something like that. PEDCASE, the PD case. I don't know. The way that score works is something like, they compare whatever the protein source in question is, in this case pork rinds, collagen, to their gold standard, which I think is cow's milk, which has a score of 1 or 100%, 1, and then they factor in also feces, which is scientists speak for stool or poop or loaf. If I ever become a scientist, I'm going to push the latter term. I'm going to try to insist on loaf, calling it loaf in my papers. But anyways, and that the whole point of the poop score is to see basically how much is being digested. Okay. All that to say, these suckers have a very, very low score. I think it's like 0. And if the FDA has a score of a PDCAAS score, or that's kind of redundant, a PDCAAS of less than 0.2 for something like 0.2 for adult foods, and 0.4 for kid foods. They factor a little bit differently because they, you know, because we care about kids. I guess that's why. If it has less than 0.2, you're going to see this little message next to the protein source. So you're going to, if you go look on some Jell-O, Jell-O has a bunch of, well, it doesn't. Per weight, it has a bunch of protein in it. But you're going to see next to it, next to that 1 or 2 grams of protein, you're going to see not a significant source of protein. Now, real quick, that pretty much covers it. If you guys have questions about that, let me know. I might not have them offhand, but I'll dig them up. Hang on a second. Snooze that. Okay. One quick thing about the PDCAAS. I'm not personally a huge fan of it by itself. I think it's a great. I can see why the FDA would choose it. They got to choose something. Well, maybe not, but they did, and I could see why they chose that. But another, I would kind of like cross score things. If you're really into this, if you're really into protein and what's the best source of protein and this and that. First of all, just as a general thumb, I just say mix it up. Just get as many different protein sources as you can. Try to get between 0.7 and 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Okay, but in terms of your sources, in terms of these scores, these standards, PDCAAS, combine that with the protein sources BV score, which is it's basically gonna be how effective, it's deemed how effective that protein source is in protein synthesis. How bioavailable it is, I believe is kind of the proper way to put it. How bioavailable it is in the protein synthesis process. Building muscle. Protein synthesis is like the huge part of building muscle. Just think of it like that. So, while soy has the same score on PDCAAS as cow's milk, which is their standard that they base everything on, both cow's milk and soy have lower BV scores than, say, eggs, which is also scores a 1 on the PDCAAS. But you see what I'm saying? You got to look. If you look at both of them, and I think BV. I'm getting into the weeds here and kind of drifting off in the areas that I'm not quite sure if I have the facts right. So double check all this. Wikipedia, which is the gold standard for facts. Go ahead and hit that up. It's all based on. I think there's a correlation between nitrogen and bioavailability and protein synthesis, and I think they just go off the nitrogen amount, whatever, for BV. So all that to say, if you're super geeky about protein, you want to get into it, and you really want to see what the best foods are. Look at the PDCAAS score. Look at the BV score. There's a couple other ones too. There's one I can't remember off the top of my head what it is, but it looks at how it measures like the growth rate in rats, like how much they grew based on eating this certain type of food. Whatever. So the more data you have, the better. The downside about that is you get these people. You might be one of them. I am sometimes myself. I can't help it. When you start getting scores involved, when you start getting objective data involved, you can't help sometimes but crap on any other source that doesn't meet whatever standard you're looking for. So don't forget that, at least as far as people know, you can also combine foods to bring up the scores. So don't get too hung up on this stuff. The whole reason I shot this video, I knew I was going to get into the weeds on this. I'm going to kill this before 10 minutes hits. The whole reason I got into this, wanted to make this video is to answer that question about the not a significant source of protein. But, just eat a variety of protein sources. If you're vegan, even more of a variety, just because you're not going to get, a lot of plant-based foods don't have the same amount of, a lot of them don't have the same BV score anyway. You're going to be cool as far as PDCAAS. Anyways, whatever. Guys, I'm Rob Shoecraft, 3 Storm Fitness. If you got any questions about protein, protein farts, let me know. And why not throw that one in? I wonder what the correlation between, maybe it's another video. We might have to get some lighters out, some matches, and see flame scores. Maybe there's some sort of, Anyways, subscribe to my videos. I don't know what I'm talking about. Have a good day.